Hey everybody, welcome back to the basement. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be checking out some new rolling stock from Lionel. Now these were in the 2022 big book. It is now August of 2023, and these have all been delivered by now, and they've been. But it is the Lionel Husky stacks with graffiti and without graffiti. We've got a bunch of them here to look at. I've got 4 of them on the layout. I've got a couple more boxes that we haven't even gotten out because I've got a ton of them here. These are courtesy of a friend of mine from the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Club. He brought them over and is allowing us to run them here on the channel and do a review. And so I want to thank Chris for helping us out with that. But these things are really, really neat. And if you're looking for well cars and you don't want to wait for the Atlas ones because we don't know when they're going to arrive, then these are a great answer, a great solution to that problem. These are nicely built. We're going to look at some of those fine details that they have. They're lighter than those die-cast ones from Atlas that we know of. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at all of these. And then we're going to send them around the layout with some modern diesel power. Let's check them out. All right, everyone. So here we go. We've got these Husky stack cars here. Now they are cataloged as a trailer train Husky stack, and then some of them have graffiti and some of them don't have graffiti. So they each come with the car and then 2 48-foot containers, and these containers do pop off. They're held on here by these little tabs on the bottom that fit into some tabs on the top container. I will say they are not the easiest things to clip together, but when they do, the friction kind of holds them together. If we just look at some of the other ones here, I've got one of the Pacer stack train versions here, or containers on this car. Now I don't have the top container, but it does come with one. So again, no graffiti on that one. And then here we have a TTX version that has the graffiti. And here's another one with graffiti here. Now you'll notice that these are not weathered, so this graffiti is nice and shiny. We probably wouldn't see these too clean. They'd probably be a little grimy, but you get the idea that you can get these with the graffiti if that's what you're into. Now Lionel started coming out with the graffiti a few years ago, and since then we've seen them on the stack cars like you see here. We've seen them on the big, I believe 86-foot box cars. We've seen the graffiti on those. We've seen the graffiti on the coil cars as well. And we've seen an attempt to do graffiti on some locomotives. Now, I believe there are some fantasy locomotives that have come out with some graffiti on them. There was a plan to do the Genset switcher, Union Pacific Genset with graffiti on it, but rumor has it Union Pacific didn't like that too much and shut that plan down, and so that one unfortunately was not made. But that would have looked pretty cool as well. Now, these MSRP for $189.99, which is a pretty hefty price tag, but you can get them for less than that if you go to a dealer. Now, comparing these to the well cars from Atlas, we unfortunately don't have any of those in front of us because they haven't been delivered yet. Now, trying to compare these are kind of apples to oranges. These are released as one single unit. The Atlas, if we were to look at cars about the same size as these, now these fit a 48-foot container. The Atlas are going to be for your 53-foot containers if you're looking at like the Maxi 4s. And those come in 3 packs and they're $289. So the Atlas are actually a better deal than the Lionel ones when you're looking at getting 3 altogether. Now, Atlas also announced the 40-foot rebuilt well car. So obviously they would be a little bit smaller than these 48-footers. And those MSRP'd for, or are pre-order pricing, I'm looking at Train World's website, is $98.99. So they probably came out like $109 or so dollars for an MSRP. But those haven't been delivered yet, and those are going to be die cast. These are not nearly as heavy. If we remove these containers here from these, we can get a closer look, but these are die cast. These are metal as well, but they're not quite as heavy as what I've seen on some of my other Atlas cars. So hopefully these would be a little bit easier for locomotives to pull than some of those heavier Atlas cars. Let's go ahead and get a closer look at some of the fine details on the end of these cars, and then we'll put them on the scale and see how much they weigh. So when we remove the car, you'll see we've got open holes here in the die cast frame. Now, I'm assuming that the actual prototypes would have holes here to drain out any water. My other guess is that they put these big holes in here to alleviate some of the weight of these cars altogether for shipping, and then obviously for the pulling power of our locomotives. There is a little hitch here for if you were to put a trailer on here, which is pretty cool. We've got some add-on detailing with these walkways, and then we've got some ladders and handrails here on the ends also. thing there. If we plastic trucks, we've got really long coupler arms because these things do need some space to get around some curves because they are a little long. Now, they do have some long coupler arms there, which allow these to navigate 031 curves, even with their length. These things are a little long. They're about 16 3/8 inches long. So those long coupler arms, although they look a little silly, when we're looking at it from the side here, you can see that gap between cars is really quite large. Being able to navigate those 031 curves is very, very convenient. Now let's take a closer look at some of these containers. So I've got two of them right here. If we take this one and turn it around, you can see the detailing on the ends of these is really quite good. These are pretty light. You know, they're not going to carry a whole lot of weight, but neither would the Atlas ones. So you can see they've got some nice markings on them. Now, the containers are not weathered or graffitied. Only the cars have come that way. If we come over here to get a closer look at some of that graffiti markings, you can get a view here. So they did do a really nice job, I think, as far as putting graffiti on cars. They do look really, really good. They would look better if we had some weathering on them because you just wouldn't see that as naturally graffitied nice and bright like that. But I think they did a really nice job adding these. I think the graffiti cars do look really cool on modern freight. I have a bunch of them in my collection already, and I know it's a really acquired taste. So it's nice that Lionel offered these with the graffiti and without the graffiti. So if it's not for you, then you can just get the ones without and you don't have to worry about it. So, all right, so I've got my scale here. I'm gonna put a box there and it's zeroed out. And so if we put the car on here, they come in at 1 pound, 5.4 ounces. So not bad. And then let's grab one container. The container comes in at 5.4 ounces. So there we go. So we would have, what, 10.8 ounces in containers added to each of these cars. So they aren't too terribly heavy at the end of the day. All right, so I mentioned that there were two others that I didn't even have on the layout, and I have them right here so you can see them. So we have another TTX with an evergreen container there, and then I believe a safe marine, and then over here we've got another TTX without graffiti, and we've got the Southern Pacific, and it looks like Mopac, if I'm not mistaken, container there. So my buddy Chris actually ended up picking up more of these when we were at Nicholas Smith's tent sale. He asked if I wanted to bring those over too, and I said, don't worry about it. I think we have enough here. In fact, I couldn't even get all these on the layout tonight. So let's go ahead. We're going to run these around the layout with the ES44 from the Rocket set. This has been on the wall for a couple weeks, so it's time to break her back out, put it on the layout, and run these things around.
This is the tower. Make a pull to the pit to top her off. Over. Roger that. We're in position. Out.